Sketch might be the most surprising movie of 2025. I thought I was walking into like a Narnia-style kids fantasy, but what I got was darker, weirder, and way more emotional than I expected, and something that works for all ages. So this stars Arrested Development's Tony Hale and The Good Place's Darcy Carden, directed by first-time feature film director and writer Seth Worley, and it follows a grieving family that's brought together when their daughter, her sketchbook falls into like a magical lake that her brother finds in the woods, and her drawings start to come to life. Now, her drawings aren't just any kind of drawings. They're monsters there, and she gives them stories and lore and all this very creative stuff. This is one of the rare occasions where I didn't even watch the trailer. So Marvin, you should be proud of me on this one.
Yes, I had to watch it. I watched it with Christina because we wanted to see if we could watch this with the kids. And so we watched the trailer first.
That's fair. Well, we'll talk about that a little bit later. You might have been duped like some other people out there. But again, I expected something like way more geared towards kids. But this actually felt like a blend of like Jumanji or like Pan's Labyrinth and like some of the early Steven Spielberg movies.
It reminded me of, there was a movie that I didn't watch, but it was called Inkheart.
Oh, Inkheart's great.
I read the book.
I was leery because I thought this might be scary for our youngest. And she was pretty scared throughout the movie. She'd close her eyes and like cuddle up like, oh my God, I'm scared. Tell me when this part's over. But after she watched it once, she loved it. And she had a friend over a couple days later spend the night and they watched it together and they both loved it. So
nice.
7 years old, by the way.
I used to have sleepovers and watch Halloween.
Nice.
I used to make all my friends
7 years old.
Around there, yeah. But yeah, so this movie is really interesting. Like it actually does a lot of shifting between, you know, different types of like genres a lot. It's a genre bending movie almost. It is a family adventure. It is a comedy. It's got a little bit of light horror in there. It's like a really genuine story that's like warm and imaginative, and it's as we said, it reminds me of those like old Amblin movies. What this movie really is like it's a celebration of a child's creative mind. Yes, she's drawing like all these like weird and disgusting and, you know, scary things, but like the movie reveals, there's a reason behind it, and it's actually very healthy, and it's healthy to rear this in a child. I'm not a parent, but my parenting style would be to embrace that in a child, not sort of shun it.
Yeah, a productive outlet for such feelings, definitely.
Yeah, if it's just like monsters and stuff, like obviously you don't want your child drawing like some fucking like racist shit.
No, yeah, you definitely don't want. Right? Like, you don't want to see swastikas showing up in her notebook or nothing. Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Well, to an extent, yeah, I agree.
This is a film about grief. They're all going through grief, and as you find out in the movie, she used to draw cool things and good things and positive things.
Right.
And she kind of turned the page on that and went to just darkness because she's going through grief and she doesn't know how to handle it. As a child, you don't know how to deal with these things. Even adults, as we see, don't know how to deal with these things. Like it's still tough dealing with grief when you're a full-blown adult and you've lived on this planet for 40, 50, 60 years.
Yeah, that is like the central premise of the movie. It's not about monsters or anything like that. It is about a family dealing with grief and how each individual deals with it in their own way and how you deal with it together. So in the film, the main character, Amber is the character's name. Her mom dies. Her brother and the dad, they're all dealing with it in separate ways. The dad is completely sort of pretending like she never existed almost. He's taking pictures off the walls. He's selling the house even. Like he just wants to get as far away from her memory as possible. And he thinks that's a way that like to help the kids cope with it. Is like, oh, well, mom never existed.
Fresh start. Yeah.
The way they tied it in to say that Amber wasn't the damaged one and that the dad and Jack were really the ones that were messed up, that was really good. That was pretty good.
The brother Jack, he's sort of like, I wouldn't say like rebelling, but he's kind of like on and off doing his own stuff.
He's trying to fix it in his own way. The dad's ignoring it. Jack is trying to just fix it and make everyone better in the only way he can. Yeah.
He's trying to be the Rock.
The whole movie's like building up to this fact that like she's the one who's like disturbed, but it's not. She's doing the healthy thing and like expressing her grief in a constructive way through art. And the brother says that you're not a monster or whatever. You're not the monster that you're drawing.
Yeah.
And then there's the realization from the dad that like, oh shit, like I've been doing my thing, she's been doing her thing the whole time. We thought she was broken, but we haven't been considering your feelings. And like you said, he's kind of took on the role of the rock because he sees his sister and his dad struggling. So yeah, I mean, ultimately this is really about like that, and it's like how to express your feelings in a healthy way. And art is one of the best ways to do it. It's like tried and true, time tested. For as long as humans have existed, art has existed, and art comes from your feelings of love, grief, fear, pain, everything.
Even just writing in a journal,
and not
like
just
pen to paper is healthy.
Exactly. Not just drawing. Any form of art is good.
So I thought this movie was a really powerful message for both kids and adults, and I thought that's why I thought this movie works but like it has kid elements to it, but I think an adult could sit down by themselves, as I did and Marvin did, and watch it and enjoy it and get a good positive message out of it. I
agree that this is probably the most surprisingly good movie of 2025 so far. I'm glad you brought up the genre bending thing too, because I noticed that with like the comedy, and then there was some like mini jump scares that were in there, but it was done in like a tasteful way. It wasn't the modern day horror jump scares that we get that are really trying to make you like have a heart attack and shit.
Well, there's a lot of tip of the hats to horror defining scenes, like ripping the shower curtain. Then it wasn't blood, but the red color circling down the drain and the jump scares. There was a lot of like nods, so it was really well done.
A movie like this hinges on the visuals and the creature designs and stuff like that. And this movie had a $3 million budget, which is not a lot.
That's phenomenal.
This is indie.
What they did.
This is low budget. I thought the CGI creatures in this movie were just unbelievable. Like borderline blew me away in how good they looked. They were so good. Yeah. There was some little small stuff like her tentacles when you saw closely, like they weren't good or whatever, but the monsters were pretty well done for CGI.
Yeah. They were going for a specific look. He talks about it a little bit, how there was the delays in some of the VFX because they weren't getting it right, and he was getting pressure from the studio. But once they got one scene done and they saw what it was going to look like, they were like, oh, okay, this is good. They just keep going with this.
Like we get it, yeah.
Well, the designs are really imaginative, but also like, you were just saying the textures and the visual details, they're supposed to make the drawings look like they were peeled directly off the page, so much so that like some of the creatures that she drew in chalk leave behind like chalk dust, like little puffs of dust really when she kills them. It was such a cool touch. That informed the story really well, or the plot really well, because it is a creature movie and they have to fight the creatures. And so it takes on this whole other imaginative layer where like, well, the way the creatures were drawn, the material that was used to draw them is how you defeat them. Washable markers used with water and so on and so forth.
That was pretty good.
It was just a really, really well thought out and creative way to do just monsters, I thought. Besides the visuals, and as we've talked about, visuals go hand in hand with the score and the sound design. And I thought the sound design in this movie was awesome too. The creature sounds, like some of the build up and the suspense, and just overall enhancing the experience. And then the jump scares, like you mentioned, they were all
suspense
that stuff
was good too. Like it was a different kind of suspense too. It was more like an anticipation of seeing like, how is this monster going to look when it comes to life?
Yeah, it was really fun. It was like, it was a really fun, it was just a fun movie. That's really the best way to describe it. I wasn't the only one, or we weren't the only ones who maybe were surprised by this movie. So a bunch of like Christians were like deeply and profoundly appalled by this movie. Well, it turns out a distribution company called Angel Studios actually took on the film and distributed it. That company made a name for itself previously by promoting Christian movies.
Christian valued movies, or Christian based movies. Yeah.
Sound of Freedom, a TV series called The Chosen. There were some Christian parents who were like, oh, this is an Angel Productions movie. It must be great and family friendly. Let's turn it on and watch it. They, I guess, didn't know what they were getting into, but it's not really that big of a deal, but it is to them. And now they're calling for the movie to be boycotted because it's demonic and all this shit. Leave it to Christians to always be the fun police. But Dusty, you watched it with young kids. I'm curious, like, do you share any of these complaints, or?
No, like I said, Priscilla was a little bit scared the first watch through, but nothing affected her the second time through. She loved it, and she was actually her energy watching it the second time with her friend made her friend less scared than she was the first time she saw it. So,
Nice.
like, yeah, I mean, there's some scary parts for kids, like the monsters coming alive. The stories that they tell about the monsters, you don't know, like, oh, it's going to eat us, or
Yeah.
there's
Right.
it alludes to some things that could, like, in a child's head could seem scary. So I get, like,
Yeah, for sure.
why it would be
Yeah.
scary, like for kids like 6 and under, I guess, or 7 and under. But Bo, he had no problems, and he's a couple years older, so he loved it too. But yeah,
They go to Angel Studios Films because they think it's going to have like a wholesome family message, and the irony is that this movie is exactly that. Like, that's all
Yeah,
it
like,
is.
what are we talking about?
It's a very family friendly message. It's about bringing families together to deal with the trauma together as a family, and to lean on each other and to help each other. Like, you really don't get more family friendly than this movie. It's very bizarre. I don't have children, but I think it deals with these themes and stuff in a very accessible way and a fun way that kids could, love and enjoy. And I don't think there's anything wrong with just being open and honest with a kid and being like, well, yeah, you die someday, and like, it sucks, but that's just part of life. And at least, like, yeah, of course their younger mind can't super process it the way that we can, but that's what parents are for, is for you to help them process that, not give them some sort of fantasy like, oh, well, regardless of how you feel, oh, you're going to go to heaven and everything's going to be glorious and we'll see each other again someday. I think that is more of a disservice to a child than just the reality of life.
all parents lie to their kids about certain things for a long time, like the fucking tooth fairy and Santa Claus and shit like that.
Yeah.
But we as far as like real world things that they have questions about, we're try to be
Right.
open and simple and communicative about it. So yeah.
So for all those reasons, this movie really blew me away, surprised the hell out of me. Unfortunate too, because like I said, it's not really doing that great. It's not getting a lot of notoriety. Like, really nobody's talking about it. They're trying to push like an international release on it, and it's not really kind of working out. But this is a movie I really genuinely think everybody should see. It's like probably one of my favorite movies of the year so far, honestly. But, the market is dominated by like sequels and reboots, and like here's the thing that everybody desperately wants, like a really creative, fresh,
An original idea.
Yeah.
Great story, well written, well acted, all around, very original and creative. So I loved it.
I said it earlier, but yeah, I thought I
Nice.
enjoyed it quite a bit, and it was good. Yeah, great watch.
The horror fan in me was like, please put the mom's ashes in the lake. I want to see some Pet Cemetery shit. Like, let's get real dark with this shit. I want Zombie Mom to pop out. You
Well,
thinking
first
shit,
it fixed his phone
Yeah.
and it fixed his cut,
the plate,
and he was gonna take the
broken dish.
ashes there. Yeah,
Yeah. But the movie comes full circle, and it's like, well, we don't have to, like, that's just a band-aid. Like, we shouldn't be sitting in our grief wishing the person was back. We should be celebrating what they were when they were here, and what they meant to us, and their memory. So really, really great message. Love this movie. One of my favorites of the year. Super surprised by it. Blew me away. It's got a 6.7 on IMDb. I've honestly, this is a 10 out of 10 for me.
I don't know. Everything was so well done. It was a short watch. It was fun.
You love short watches.
I love short watches.
You don't got to bump up
great.
to 2x speed.
No 2x. This is natural. This is all natural here.
Natty, baby.
I would probably give this a 10 too. This is good.
Okay.
I give it an 8.
Oh,
yeah.
All right. Well, 9's your perfect, so that's all right.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very good. Again, the dad.
Is it something you would change, or?
Well, like I said, the dad, he
Yeah.
could have been done a little bit better, but all the kids' roles, the way they told the story, the idea of the story itself was really well done and very creative. So yeah.
Nice.
Almost perfect.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you guys liked it. I really loved it. And folks, I hope you loved it too. If you did, if you've watched it, leave a comment down below. Let us know what you thought about it.